Then I, deserted, felt the fire of love fiercer and deeper in my heart. I begged my wife's forgiveness, owned that I had sinned, that I too might have yielded to such gifts, had I been offered gifts so wonderful. At this confession, when she had avenged her wounded honor, she came back to me, and we spent years in bliss and harmony. She gave me, too, as though herself were gift of small account, a hound her own Diana had given her, saying, "He'll outrun them all." The javelin, too, she gave me, which you see. You asked the story of the other gift. I'll tell a tale to take your breath away. The riddle that had baffled earlier brains was solved by Oedipus, and headlong down the Sphinx had fallen, her mysteries forgotten. At once a second plague was launched on Thebes, a savage beast that killed and feasted on the farm folk and their flocks. We, the young squires, ringed the broad pastures with our hunting nets, but with a bound the beast was over them, clearing the tops of our entanglements. We slipped our dogs. The beast, as they gave chase, fled like a bird, and mocked our 100 hounds. With one accord my comrades called to me, for Whirlwind, my fine gift-hound, who for long had fought the leash that checked him. He was loosed and straightway lost to sight. The hot dust held his footprints. He had vanished. Not so swift a lance's flight, or bullets from a sling, or slender arrows from a Cretan bow. Some rising ground commanded the wide fields. I climbed the top and gained a grandstand view of that strange chase. One moment the beast caught, the next the death wounds missed him. He's escaped. His course was cunning, never straight for long. He doubled back and circled to deceive the chasing jaws, to foil his foe's assault. The hound pressed close, clung step for step. It seemed he'd got him, but he failed and snapped the air. My javelin must help, I thought, and while I weighed it in my hand and tried to fit my fingers in the loop, I glanced aside, and when I looked again, amazing sight, there in the open plain below I saw 2 marble statues, one of them, you'd swear, in flight, the other pouncing on its prey. Some god, if gods were watching, must have willed that both should be unbeaten in that chase. He stopped in silent thought. Your javelin? Of what crime was that guilty? Phocus asked, and Cephalus told him of his weapon's crime. My happiness, Prince Phocus, was the start of all my sorrows. I'll describe it first. What pleasure to recall that blessed time, those early years when rightly I had joy in my dear wife, and she had joy in me. We shared the bonds of love and love's concern. Not Jove's embraces would have pleased her more than mine, and me no other could have won, not Venus' self. The same love fired us both. I would go hunting when the sun's first beams colored the hilltops, as a young man will, roving the woods alone. I never took servants or horses or keen-scented hounds or knotted nets to help me. I was safe to have my javelin, and when my hand had had its fill of sport, I used to seek the coolness of the shade and of the breeze, the zephyr breathing from the chilly dales. I sought the gentle zephyr in the heat. I waited for the zephyr, for its balm, my labor's rest. Come, zephyr, I would call, how I remember. Soothe me, welcome guest. Come to my breast, relieve, as is your way, the heat with which I burn. And I might add, so the fates led me on, more blandishments. You comfort and refresh me. For your sake I love the lonely places in the woods. Your breath I seek forever on my lips. Some fool who overheard my words mistook the double sense, and thought that Zephyr called so often was a nymph, and I in love. This hasty telltale hurried off to Procris, and told in whispers my supposed offence. Love will believe too soon. In sudden grief she swooned, they told me then, restored at last, bemoaned her misery, her cruel fate, accused my honour, and imagining a false offence, feared a mere nothing, feared an insubstantial name, poor soul, and grieved as over a true rival paramour. Yet she had doubts, and in her wretchedness hoped she was wrong, refusing to accept the tale, or till her eyes had evidence, convict her husband of such villainy. Next day the gleam of dawn had banished night, and out into the woods I went and found good sport, and lying on the grass I called, "Come, Zephyr, come and soothe my weariness." And suddenly as I spoke I seemed to hear a sound of moaning. But I called again, "Come, best and loveliest." A falling leaf made a slight rustle, and I thought it was some lurking beast, and hurled my javelin. It was my wife, clutching her wounded breast. "Ay me," she cried. I knew her voice, my Procris voice, and like a madman rushed headlong towards the sound. And there, half dead, her clothes blood spattered, plucking from the wound the gift, heaven help me, she had given me, I found her. Cradled in my arms I raised her body, dearer than my own to me, and tore her dress away and bound the cruel wound, trying to staunch the blood, and begged her not to leave me, not condemn me by her death. Exhausted then and dying, these few words she forced herself to murmur: "By our vows of wedlock, by the gods of home and heaven, by my deserts, if I have well deserved, by my death's cause, my own still living love, I beg you, I implore you, not to take Zephyr to be your wife in place of me." And then at last I learnt of her mistake, and told her all. But what did telling help? She slipped away. What little strength was left ebbed with her failing blood, and while her eyes had power still to gaze, she gazed at me, and on my lips her life's last breath was spent. But she looked glad, and seemed to die content. In tears the hero told his tragic tale, in tears they heard. Then Aeacus arrived with his 2 sons in new raised soldiery, whom Cephalus welcomed with their valiant arms.